gone through so much disruption in their schooling, and this eventually ends up affecting their confidence level and their progress level as well. And this is something I deal with in the class when I'm with them, because not all of them are sometimes refugees. Sometimes it's a mixed class with refugees and non-refugees as well. So it's hard to balance support, normal support that we offer in the classroom for language learners, and then support to refugees with, who came from different backgrounds and different difficult circumstances as well. So definitely that's one my first challenge to, that's the first challenge that comes to mind. Yeah. So what about you, Rabia? Have you ever had
Uh, I had like a little bit of experience, but that was through a project. So I was not teaching them regularly. I was going to them for about 3 to 4 days consecutively, and then I would go again after like some time. So
mm,
for me, what I had noticed was um, they were very shy, but when you go to them next time, they expect you to come and they're very happy that you're there. So that kind of
yeah,
they easily form that bond if you're kind to them and you treat them like they want to. You give them a little bit of space, and you have created a safe environment, so they look forward to you. And they would sometimes try to touch my hair, like, am I real or not? So that's very sweet. So I think my experience with them has been not very challenging. I have found them to be very loving and
yeah.
very somebody who wants to um be approached and wants to be understood. So I think for me, it has been understanding their behaviors and accommodating accordingly, because a lot of challenges that come are usually with not understanding that it's not the problem with the learner, or it's not the
mm,
problem that a refugee has. It is sometimes a behavior, like
mm,
they're afraid of new person, they're afraid of how they're going to treat them. They're also sometimes they do not have so much concentration, so they have low concentration, and teachers think that they're not paying attention to us,
mm,
and they think
mm,
that they're purposefully doing that. And then sometimes they don't come to the class also because they have so much to do at home. So some of these challenges that teachers need to understand, that it's not about just the teaching, but
mm.
some targets that the learner has brought with them as well.
Absolutely. Well, speaking about making a bond and, having a care, a friendly relationship with the learners. We have some comments from our Facebook community from one of the teachers who has shared her challenge when it comes down to teaching displaced learners and refugees. She said that she's learned to take care with what topics she teaches, as some can be really upsetting. And this is lovely because it's important to take that into consideration. For example, she says teaching words related to family to a person who has been separated from their loved ones. I've also learned that consistent routines can help, as many refugees have experienced significant disruption in their lives. So I think it's a lovely comment. She also added that it helps to understand that some undesirable behaviors, as you've mentioned a few moments earlier, are related to the student's situation. So they're not actually bad behaviors. For example, I have students who don't hand work in, or even completely forgot to attend class because their home life is quite chaotic. It is frustrating, but I try to remind myself they aren't doing it to be difficult, just trying their best in very tough circumstances. So beautifully said, honestly. It kind of sums it up.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful comment. We'll be sharing comments from our community for all what our members have thought, what they have shared from the experience. And if
Mm,
you are here and you do not have a direct experience with the refugees, so you
mm,
can suggest from your experience with other learners what you think can be a good idea for us, or what could be a challenge that other teachers could face. So we have a comment from YouTube. Um, Hello, Fernandez. She says they don't know my mother tongue. So
mm.
th- uh, can you a little clarify a little bit? It's about them not knowing your mother tongue, or you not knowing their mother tongue. Which is more important? What do you think about that, Nadia?
Oh, I think it is important sometimes to have access to the mother tongue of the refugees that we teach, because language is culture and it's identity. And sometimes being completely introduced to a new culture, a new language can be quite shocking. So having like simple words, a hi and a hello, and have you eaten? Are you cold? Like simple phrases can truly help people, even though it may sound like trivial, but it's not. It could truly mean the world to someone who came from such, destructive circumstances or such difficult background. So definitely it's important to have a word or two, a phrase or two up your sleeves if you know that one of your learners in the class is a refugee from, a specific country. I know I would appreciate it if I ever was a refugee. I'd truly appreciate it.
All right, all right. For me, also, I think that a lot of times we do not know the language, and at that time, I think our gestures and the body language and the actions, we can always use them to, the way we introduce new words and new vocabulary. We can use something like medium, for instance, if there is this mug, you
Ooh.
can ask them, like, what do you say? And we can
What do you drink in that mug, Rabia,
uh,
usually?
usually tea. Usually tea.
Ooh. And who got you that mug?
My mother, she bought it
Ooh.
for me.
So it's a
So
precious mug.
so yes, it is very precious to me. So children who have that kind of language, you share the same language, you can ask questions from them, but you can also ask them, what do you call it in your language? I'll say pyala. What do you say in your language?
You're gonna hate me for this. Mug.
Oh,
We just
we
say
also
mug.
call it mug. Okay, so this way, even if I think they do not know the language, they can talk to each other in the language that they know, or it could be a good way to show something and say, okay, tell each other, what do you say this in your mother tongue? So they'll
Mhm,
start belonging to the group, that yes, my culture is, or my language is being introduced here. So it's
mhm,
not something that is totally alien.
mhm.
We
Absolutely.
we had the poll results, and 100% said no, that they do not have experience of working with the refugees. And I don't think it is very important that you do not know, and you cannot, because you do not have experience working with them, you cannot talk about that, because I feel that most of the times a lot of good practices that we're talking about, that do this for refugees, we can do that for in regular classrooms also. They work
Yeah.
the same way. If we are kind to the learners, we understand their context, and we adapt resources according to them. We are very careful about understanding that, where they're coming from. I think
Mhm.
uh, all of you can contribute, even if you do not have a lot of experience. All of what you do in your regular classrooms can be
Yes.
done in these contexts, but you need to just be more uh, compassionate and more understanding. What do you think about that, Nadia?
I do. I think being more aware, but still, it's the same set of skills that we apply in a normal class. Same, so teacher superpowers: having empathy,
Yes.
understanding, establishing rapport, knowing your learner's profile. It applies to refugees as well. It's just there's a little bit of extra effort, as we've mentioned earlier. Perhaps learning some of the, the mother tongue of the learners. Perhaps it could truly help. So a little bit of extra effort, but it goes a long way. It could truly impact a person's life.
Yes, yes, and we have a person from Libya here. Hi, hi there. And we have got a comment from YouTube. Somebody said flashcards are also a good way. They can learn some useful words. By yes. So again, pictures. Some, if you do not have the object, you can use a picture. You can draw a picture yourself if it's a low resource context, and you can get some flashcards. You can make your own flashcards also. You can use some newspapers or magazines that, you can get them secondhand as well. Cut the pictures and you paste them on a piece of like hard paper, and then you can use them in the classrooms also. We also
Absolutely.
had a post in our community where we had loads and loads of comments. It was, what's your top tip for teaching English to refugees and displaced learners? And Nadia, would you like to begin by sharing some of the ideas that stood out to you personally from the community?
Well, some of the comments were from our lovely teachers, and one tip that stood out was establishing how literate they are. This is something I absolutely loved because it doesn't cross a person's mind to think, oh, we think all ninth graders know everything that all ninth graders around the world know. So it doesn't come to mind that perhaps refugees don't have the same level of literacy because they were in a different country, in a different system, with a different curriculum. So in the comment, it says, I met some adult refugees who had not had the opportunity to attend school in their home country. So looking for resources to help with literacy in their first language so they will have more transferable skills. This may be a sensitive or embarrassing topic, but it's important to know and good to approach it kindly and gently and make it a safe space. So that's one comment yeah, that's resonated with me so much.
Yes, and there was exactly another comment that connected with that about creating a safe space. And they said non judgmental, empathy is the key, and respect for the lived experience and culture with dignity. So you're not
Mm,
treating them as, you pity them, or,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
sorry for them. You
Mm,
just let them talk about it, be compassionate, but do not make them
mm,
feel that that they're coming from a background that um, you I would not want anybody to feel sorry for me. I would want to be accepted the way I am. So understanding that for a refugee is also very important. So
yeah,
respecting them for who they are and their lived experience is very important, and learning a little of their language helps. So
yeah,
yesterday we were meeting, Nadia and I, and we were also exchanging, like, what do you say that in your language, what do I say that in my language. That creates bond. And with refugees also, do that. uh, Ask them about how do you say hello in your culture, how do you say goodbye, and try saying that to them also, not just as a piece of you share the information, but you use
mm,
that so that you make them feel valued, that you
mm.
tried to do something to make them feel more comfortable in the classroom.
Yes, well, I think also to make them feel comfortable, but also empower them. Do remember
Yes.
that refugees and displaced learners came from situations where they have no control over their day-to-day life. They have no control over anything. So perhaps our classrooms as English teachers can be a space for them where they can gain that power back. We've talked before about allowing students to pick an activity or choose a way of assessment in our assessment session. We also talked about what they'd like to learn, how they'd like to learn it. This allows them to own their learning, but also feel very confident and feel like they are in control once again, in control of themselves, of their lives, of their choices. This could truly help shape classes of refugees in a better way.
Yes. And there was another important topic. I think we have talked about this earlier as well. They said being
Yeah,
kind and supportive is essential. Also, it's better to think twice before discussing topics that could bring back painful memories or trigger
mm,
anxiety about the future. And
mm,
try not to, you can like easily change the topic from my family to my routines. What do I do
yeah,
every day? So maybe somebody has left their family, so try to be think about what you can how you what topic you're discussing in the classroom, is it going to
mm,
bring bad memories for them? So being kind is very important. And I think in our regular classes as well, a lot of times when we start talking about families, a lot of people are living in different circumstances. So in our
yeah,
regular classes as well, it's really important to be very sensitive about choosing what topic you are teaching. So
absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
what's really striking in what we have seen in the community is that people from different contexts are all highlighting the same thing. Before
Yeah,
learners can take risks with language, they need to feel safe enough to participate. So you create that kind of safe environment before you start teaching them the language, and understanding their language. Everybody has talked about that. One community member said that you take a walk in their culture first, so you get to know a little bit about what kind of place they used to live in, what kind of
yeah.
activities they used to like, and maybe surprise them with an activity from their culture also, like, okay, we play ludo a lot in Pakistan, or so
Perhaps a
any
dish.
activity that, yes,
Mention a
yes,
dish when you're talking about food. Mention a dish from their background or their culture. That could
yes,
also be
yes,
quite inviting. It's like, oh my god, my teacher researched my country and they know our national dish, for example. So that could
yes,
also be quite supportive. Another thing I think teachers can do is that celebrate small wins immediately. I know in a
yes,
class we usually have like learners who can do when learners learn how to write an email, when learners can ask for coffee, or like, in a cafe, we don't celebrate those moments instantly. But with refugees, I think it's important to highlight those moments and celebrate them on the spot, because again, these are confidence builders, and to them, it could be a huge leap. It is life changing based on the circumstances that they came from as well. So acknowledge it and make it count and celebrate it, or perhaps even
Yeah.
transfer it into your normal classes and not just your refugees.
So what I used to do for that, Nadia, is we would sit in the circle, like in form of a circle at the end of the session, and we would
Yeah.
say one kind word, like what did we like today? What did somebody do that we really liked, and we appreciate that person at the end. And sometimes we would form a like two rows facing each other, and we'll form that kind of a
Like
pathway,
putting your
and one child. Yes, so it would be like I have my hand like this, and you will have your hand like this, and somebody can walk through that kind of a corridor. And while they're walking, we'll be saying something encouraging to them, something that they've done. So when you were doing that activity, we really enjoyed. I loved your sentence. I loved your drawing. So this way, while they're walking with everybody saying their the confidence level, it increases so much because they're being acknowledged for what they did that day. And it's
Mm.
all kind words. It's all kind words. So this way also that you acknowledge what they did, it's not just the teacher but the peers also. I think that that also helps a lot.
Think about it.
And
Humans like to
again,
be encouraged and like to be praised.
yes, yes,
Normal living circumstances in normal countries with normal conditions and situations. People love that. So you can only imagine how displaced learners and refugees truly need the positivity of this.
yes, yes. And we have a comment here, and they've written, I use tailored approach. I would try to teach their mother tongue and teach them in their mother tongue. That is so lovely if you have that opportunity to do that. And if not, you can ask them to speak in their mother tongue, and maybe ask them to show you a picture of what they're talking about. Give them some
Yeah.
pictures, and maybe they can say, okay, this is this and this is this, and you can
Mhm.
communicate like that. But if you share the same language, I think there can be nothing better than that. We also have
Mhm.
another comment about teaching a foreign language like English to refugees is really a necessity to help these people communicate, to work, and make a new life. Exactly. So you, I don't have words to acknowledge how much this is important, and that is why we're all gathered here to make that possible. And another comment says, I would have used scaffolded learning as well as discovery learning. Could you share a little bit of example also how you would do that, clarify that a little bit for others to learn as well? So I'd agree, making it as scaffolded as possible, step by step, supporting them throughout the way. I think that is really important, and helping them discover instead of you telling them this is this and this is this.
Mhm.
Making them explore is really very important. Are there
There's
any
another
other
comment
comments?
that resonates. Yeah, that resonates with something you said earlier. So someone from Facebook is saying, I agree, unless and until the students feel safe enough to be comfortable, not fearing the sound of guns or helicopters or people running out of their homes to evacuate, only then can they relate to what we teach, absorb, and learn, making sure that,
Exactly.
safe environment. And another Facebook question. How would I encourage refugees learners to learn English language, like enhancing grammar accuracy? Hmm. Well, I think this applies to everyone and not just refugees.
Yes, yes. And again, I would say that you need to understand the context. This is where understanding where the learners are coming from is very important. So, do they
Mm,
need to speak accurate English, or do they, you want them to be a little bit fluent? Do you want them to use language to be able to do small things, maybe
mm,
read a recipe, or maybe talk to somebody to buy something? So, just look for basic skills that they need right now, and maybe later on. So focusing, what do you want to focus, what's going to be more helpful for someone. So for instance, if I have a refugee learner and he has to go out in the market, and I say, okay, you need to say this correctly, and maybe he
yeah.
says, for instance, if this is mug, buy me. And if we can say those two words and how much, they don't need a full sentence. The shopkeeper might understand that they want to buy a mug. So maybe in the beginning, start slow, start step by step, and there will come a time when they start speaking like accurate English with perfect grammar as well. But I would say take it slow. And somebody's
And
already written scaffolded learning, so do that.
yeah, well, as long as teachers are looking for ways to actually encourage displaced learners and refugees in their classes. So we had a post in our community asking, what is your favorite low resource activity? With this one, we've had many comments, and our first one was my favorite low resource activity is mindful street sketching or creative journaling. And I love that. All you need is a basic pen, a notebook, and your imagination. It is entirely offline, incredibly portable, and perfect for capturing the unique architecture, street life, and daily rhythms of your neighborhood. So that's definitely
Lovely.
one thing you can ask for. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
and
There's this one comment from the chat right now as well, Nadia,
oh,
and they're
yeah,
saying with the young and a bit older students, I start with color and drawing therapy. They were able to express their feelings and reactions to what they had been through. It also helped that I could speak the local language, so I would combine the local language and English, and it helped them relax and start opening up to learning and healing. I love this so much. Thank you very much
yes,
for sharing that. I also was thinking about sharing an activity where we can give those colors to the students, where um they show that I'm feeling. It could be smileys, different kinds of smileys. Instead of saying, they can show, okay, this is how I'm feeling today. But colors, I think, and that would work as well. And along with that, the word therapy and healing, it brought me like drawing and coloring brings a lot of comfort to even adults. So I think
I,
giving, and you don't actually, there is no language of color. So you can,
yes.
it's
You can
not like you
color
have
any
to say
language.
yes, you can color in any language. Like smile has no language, colors also don't have. So they have connotations. Like yellow is considered a bright color and all that. But yes, you don't need a language to color. So maybe you can start with coloring the objects. Children
Mm,
would feel relaxed by that. And
mm,
also, what skills we are teaching. So for life skills, usually it's speaking and listening that we start with, and later on a little bit of reading that we writing comes later on. So maybe how we sequence the activities and which skills we are
mm,
focusing on is also very important when we are focusing on that.
absolutely. We have a couple of
Yes.
more comments on some more creative ideas and low resources activities. So, using wrappers, this is again from our Facebook community. So, using wrappers and drinks and juice packs for various language activities. Um, there is also, I think a couple of them were actually your ideas as well. And I think you have a box to show us in a minute. Uh, we have some empty toy boxes are useful for teaching vocabulary, shapes, and verbs. Custard packets for yum for teaching imperatives and instructions. Used a cold drink bottle for teaching adjectives, creating a poster, and storytelling. So all of those are, ideas for low resource activities that you can have in normal classes, but also for displaced learners and refugees.
Yes, so for instance, a box like that, if somebody has gifted something to you, you can just put some items in it. And for instance, if I put a pencil in it, it will make some noise, and I can ask them, okay, guess what is in there? And then I show it and I tell them, okay, this is what it is. I call it this in English. What do you call? So it could be anything, and it could be something soft as well. There's no noise, and then you ask them to guess. So just using the resources that you have within your, or you can ask them to do this activity also. You can ask them to bring something that they value and put it in the
Yes.
box for others to guess what it is. So it will become more personalized, they will be more invested in it. It could be something from their culture also, so they're very
Yes.
proud of it. Also, you give a space to their background in your classroom also. So I think that would help your class also to understand other people's culture and be more kind to them. We have a question from Facebook, and they're saying, making a refugee learner emotionally secured and emotionally valued are a must before starting my class. What ways will you suggest to instill that trust? We had a post on our community about um, uh, trauma
Yes.
sensitive
How do you
teaching
support
tips.
learners affected by trauma? Yeah.
Yes. So
So
we
I
had we yes. So
yeah,
we
go
had a
ahead.
comment about, yes, be empathetic. We cannot solve everyone's problems, but at least show some understanding, show humanity. So I think when we just start with that, we understand
Yeah.
that there are problems. But we need to be empathetic towards that. So having that, you going or approaching them from that place is going to make them feel better, and patience is needed to handle this issue. That is also very important. uh, Nadia,
I,
you have
I
more ideas?
I just want to say that you don't need language to show care. People know that you care without language. I think like you don't need to say stuff. I think as a teacher, your demeanor, the way you carry yourself around the class, the way you treat those learners can convey, empathy. And hence, this would form rapport at the end of the day. They would trust you at the end of the day because they can honestly feel that you care and that you are there to learn, to support them. You're there to guide them. Once that feeling is established, I feel learners would be much more keen to actually be around that teacher or be in that class. So yeah.
Yes, and there were some trauma sensitive teaching tips in our course for refugees and displaced learners as well, and they talk about plan for feelings. So you
Yeah.
make some time to talk, so that will also build trust. You be fair, so you're not saying, okay, Nadia is my favorite and I'm going to talk to Nadia only. So if you're giving space to everyone in the classroom, so they'll be happy. And then keep calm if something is happening. You do not become show a lot of emotions, because
Yeah.
then they might get more upset. And then listening is very important in that context. You give them an opportunity to say, do not force them to say. You can, but when they are speaking to you, fully concentrate on that. And I think, as we have already said, creating a safe environment will really help them open up and speak to you. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be really helpful. And I'm
Absolutely.
afraid that is the only time that we had, Nadia, to talk about all of that. Before we go, we would like to share a good news with you that our course, How to Adapt Resources, the date has been extended. Now you can complete it till the end of March 2027. So you can get more ideas from that course, also how you can adapt activities for different contexts. You can also
Yeah.
join our own course about how to teach English to refugees and displaced learners. There are a lot of ideas, and even if you do not work with them directly, I think this will help you to understand them better, and this will also help you to maybe support someone else who is going through some traumatic experience, and maybe you know how to handle that. So tell us, what's one idea from today's discussion that you will take into your teaching, or you will like to tell this to one of your colleagues. And uh,
Perhaps add a new
Nadia,
idea that we haven't mentioned as well. We would love to hear your ideas
yes,
in the comments,
yes,
and we will be revisiting the comments to connect, to comment, and to answer any questions. We learn so much from this community.
yes. And thank you very much, everyone. This is the last live from Nadia and I. So from not the next week, but on 7th of July, you'll be joined by Stephen and Zainab.
And Zainab,
Both are,
yeah,
yes, wonderful moderators, and they will be talking about some practical, adaptable ways to develop your teaching knowledge and skills. So do come to our next live session. Do share the way you've been sharing your ideas till the time we meet next time. And we will be here till the end of June, so we'll be responding to your questions and queries. So keep on sharing your um, ideas, your achievements, the courses that you have completed, and anything you want to learn more. Do share that with us. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Nadia. We'll miss
thank you,
all of you.
Rabia. Yes, we
Thank
will.
you.
Thank you, teachers. Have a good one. Bye.